This is Michael Paul with New Orleans Scottish Rite College. I wanted to do a video today that I have frankly delayed for a little while doing, and it's not that I thought it was less important than other videos, but it's more complicated for me because it's more of an opinion video. And this will be my opinion for recommended Masonic books. I take this seriously, and I want to offer at the beginning, I am a book publisher, and I get requests all the time for what do you believe is a good Masonic book, and there's always a balance that I like to find because I don't want to seem that I'm pushing the books that I've published, but at the same time I realize that there is people who seriously need to know books and what books are recommended, and I believe that this type of video can be of value in that case. What I've done is in most top 10 videos you see where they start off with 10 items or whatever. Number 10 is the least favorite, number 1 is the most favorite. I don't really believe that there is any numbers for these list of books. What I would like to do is just offer these books, and I believe that all of them are equally of value, different reasons. I have different categories that I've set up. One is general information, which is more Masonic encyclopedias. The other is New Masons coming out, suggested books for them. Symbolism, general books on Masonic symbolism, and then instructional guides for lodge officers. I believe that with this balance of books as a foundation, most Masons can start to build a good Masonic library. A couple of things I want to mention. This will be limited to just Masonic books. I'll do a video later on recommended Scottish Rite books, but this one is limited to just Masonic books in Blue Lodge nature. These books are all books that are available in print now. None of these books are unavailable. In some lists there, you'll see books that you simply can't get a hold of because they're out of print. All of these are available. Some of the older reprints that I've mentioned can even be found on the internet for free in PDF format. Whether they are hardback or soft cover will be with each review I'll mention on that. And I hope this is of some value to you. I've gotten a number of requests to do this, and so I feel that maybe it'll be of value. In this first section, I'd like to talk about general Masonic information books, which would mostly be encyclopedias. The thing I want to mention first, encyclopedias, especially Masonic encyclopedias, sometimes come under criticism because they contain errors, and someone, especially anyone who does research or a Masonic historian, will go into various encyclopedias and find errors in dates, names, and so forth. There is no representation that everything that you will find in these or any Masonic encyclopedias is 100% accurate. Errors are made all the time. Several of these books go back to the 1800s, and even ones that are newer draw from ones that are older, so errors can be contained. The problem is that once these are published, they're published, and it's extremely difficult to take them out. The positive aspect is that there's so much good information contained in these books that you shouldn't discount them. What you should do is use this as a base of information to research if you choose further information, but do not become married to any information you find in here, because it's right off the bat we're telling you that nothing that you see can be considered 100% perfect. They're of the most value that we have available. And with that, I feel confident that you may find these books of value to you. Albert Mackey's An Encyclopedia of Freemasonry is one of the true classics of Masonic literature. Its usefulness and aid to Masonic students worldwide has been the cornerstone of its popularity since it was first published in 1873. Originally published as a two-volume hardcover edition, it was revised, expanded, and republished in a number of editions, including a three-volume edition. The encyclopedia went out of print in the late 1940s or early 50s, and quickly became a collector's edition, available mostly by having to physically visit a used bookstore. The image you see is from a new two-volume softcover edition published last year by Cornerstone Book Publishers. It is a photographic reproduction of the 1916 edition and includes a new foreword to the book. I find this encyclopedia very helpful because of the vast amount of useful general Masonic information available in it. If a Mason were limited to just one title, then I would suggest Albert Mackey's An Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. This work is again in print and available directly from the publisher by following the link in the video description or through Amazon or other online sellers. You can also still find used hardcover editions in many of the used bookstores. Another Masonic work entitled to be called a classic is Robert Macoy's General History Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. This was not quite as popular a book as Mackey's Encyclopedia, but is a little different in presentation from Mackey's work and predated Mackey's work by several years. Macoy divided this book into two sections. One was a history of Freemasonry, and the second was a Masonic encyclopedia. While the Encyclopedia section is not as detailed or complete as Mackey's, the history section provides the reader with a general understanding of Masonic history. The combination was popular. Originally published in 1869, this book was long out of print and for many years was available only by searching the racks of used bookstores. In 2012, it became available again in a softcover edition, as shown in the image. It is a photographic reproduction of the 1870 edition of the work and is available from the publisher in a link provided below or through Amazon or other online sellers. Used hardcover editions can still sometimes be found from used bookstores. The next book that I would like to include in the general Masonic information section is a rather newer book as far as Masonic encyclopedias are concerned. By the late 1950s, it was realized that there was a serious need for a good, reliable, updated Masonic encyclopedia. In 1961, Henry Wilson Coil filled that need with his Coils Masonic Encyclopedia. Based a good deal on Mackey's encyclopedia, with some word-for-word copying, Carl's work updated and added to the work of Macoy, Mackey, and others. Carl died in 1974, and by the 1980s it was realized that an updated edition of Carl's Masonic Encyclopedia was needed. Prolific U.S. Masonic author Alan E. Roberts took on the task of updating and revising the work. Roberts worked diligently on the book for many years, even as his own health was failing. The revised edition of Coil's Masonic Encyclopedia was released in 1996, only 1 year before the death of Alan Roberts. The book is not cheap, but it is the most up-to-date major Masonic encyclopedia available. Deals can often be found on good quality used hardback editions in used bookstores. In rounding out this category of general Masonic information, I'd like to include a book that is not a Masonic encyclopedia. This is a book of ancient Masonic documents. In just about every aspect of Masonic education, we hear of the landmarks, the ancient charges, and the various old regulations and manuscripts that guided our old operative brothers and were used as guides for today's speculative Freemasonry. In the book Ancient Manuscripts of the Freemasons, you will find 16 of the most important ancient manuscripts of the old operatives and a good look at the manner in which they moved from operative to speculative Freemasonry. Included are two enlightening papers from H.L. Haywood that puts the manuscripts in clear focus. I'm proud to have been associated with this book and believe it will add to any Mason's education. The book is available from the publisher and online booksellers. This section is designed for new Masons and information that could be beneficial to someone who is just joining Masonry. Now, realistically, a lot of the books from the general information section are also very useful to new Masons, and this is why I believe that really all of these books are useful and beneficial for anyone. but these particular books were designed mainly for someone just joining Freemasonry and are geared in that direction. So I'd like to offer these for your consideration.
Sometimes it's not that easy to pigeonhole a book into just one category. Such is the case with Chris Hodapp's Freemasons for Dummies. At first, I thought it should be placed in the general information section, as it is a wonderful source of general Masonic information. But I also realized that it's a great guide for new Masons, so I ended up placing it in the New Mason section. But really, you take your own pick. Written in an inviting, easy-to-read manner, it's little wonder why many lodges give this work to new Masons. Because Chris's book was published by a major publisher, you can find it on the shelves of many neighborhood Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and other local booksellers. Of course, this softcover, soon-to-be classic, is available online through most retail bookstores. Joining a Masonic lodge can be an enlightening yet confusing experience. This is especially true when the new Mason begins hearing many of the strange-sounding titles and words we use in our rituals and practices. Masonic Words and Phrases gathers most of the words and phrases used in the lodge and other bodies and provides the reader with a clear understanding of the meaning. Since it was first published in 2005, this work has been a popular book for new and experienced Masons that is often given in lodges as a gift to the newly raised. This softcover book is available online through most booksellers as well as from the publisher.
Every year brings a new set of lodge officers to each lodge. One of the problems with this election every year is that with the decline in membership, decline in attendance, it's putting a strain on many lodges. And a lot of times, whether it's good or bad, new Masons are being brought into lodge at a speed that hasn't been in the past. And they don't always have all the tools available to them for a proper year. This next section is for instructional guides for lodge officers. The books that will be recommended here are designed to help worshipful masters and lodge officers in general have a better successful year, and these are what I would say are very important to anybody who is in line or is thinking about getting in line for Masonry or become the worshipful master of their lodge.
My first year serving as worshipful master of a lodge was in 1980. 10 years later, I served again in that office. Since my first year was a mass of confusion, I was determined to have my second term a little more organized and prepared. The internet was still rather new in 1990, but I explored it to try and find any help on serving a good year. On more than a few Grand Lodge websites, I found recommended book lists. To my surprise, I found the classic Robert's Rules of Order listed on a few of them. I was surprised as I knew it was probably the most popular guide for presiding officers of clubs, but it was also, in many areas, completely incorrect for a Masonic lodge. Because the book was being recommended, and that I knew it was both useful in many areas but very dangerous in others, I decided to revise the book. Robert's Rules of Order Masonic Edition was created. I kept what was useful to a Masonic lodge and revised the other parts to make it in line with general Masonic practices. To this work was added a standard order of business, prerogatives of the worshipful master, Mackey's 25 ancient landmarks, Roscoe Pound's landmarks, the charges of a Freemason, and Anderson's Constitution of 1723. To date, it is one of Cornerstone's best-selling books. A number of Grand Lodges use this work as their Warden's Instruction Guide, and many lodges present it to all new worshipful masters. This softcover work is available online through most booksellers as well as from the publisher. While Robert's Rules of Order Masonic Edition filled the need for a guide for new worshipful masters, an educational hole for the other lodge officers still existed. In a dusty old used bookstore, I found a copy of Henry Meacham's 1938 edition of Our Stations and Places. It was a lodge officer's guide written for the Grand Lodge of New York. The book had excellent parts, but was very jurisdictional specific, dated, and hard to read in some areas. I set about revising the work as I did with Robert's Rules. The revised, updated, and expanded edition of Our Stations and Places is designed as a general officer's handbook, useful to all jurisdictions. Information, suggestions, and advice is provided for those holding any office, as well as various lodge committees. Like Robert's Masonic edition, this book has been well received by lodge officers as a useful, easy-to-use aid to improve lodge management and making enjoyable meetings. This softcover work is available online through most booksellers, as well as from the publisher.
One of the first things we learn in Masonry is that Freemasonry teaches by means of symbolism. And this means that we use certain lessons and phrases and stories to teach moral lessons. And it's done in a manner that is not always obvious. And because it's not always obvious, if we don't have instruction in what symbols mean, what these particular lessons mean, we may miss a lot that's going on in Masonry. This next section we have is designed to give instruction on what the various symbols can mean. And what you should pick up in this section of books is not a limiting but a beginning section, because these books can open a door to the meaning of symbolism, but they should not be understood to mean that they are the extent of what symbolism means. They begin you on a path and they can start you, but any student who studies this can find things new in the symbolism. And each and every aspect, if it helps you progress, it's valid. So with that, we'd like to offer this next section of what I would recommend as some needed symbolism books.
It's difficult to hold any discussion on Masonic symbolism without mention of Alan Roberts' classic, The Craft and Its Symbols. This 1975 classic provides rock-solid Masonic education and gives both the new and experienced Mason much food for thought regarding our teachings, manner of instruction, and the function of the lodge. One of the best features of this book is the down-to-earth and inclusive manner of writing. The author makes us feel as if he is speaking to us in person in our living rooms. So popular has this book become that many Grand Lodges not only recommend it for their new Masons, but provide copies as new Mason gifts. This hardcover edition is available online from the publisher by following the below link. The Freemason's Key provides sound education in the area of Masonic symbolism from many of Freemasonry's masters of education. Classic papers from the likes of Albert Mackey, Joseph Barnett, Dudley Rite, Joseph Ford Newton, H.L. Haywood, and many others offer their thoughts on every aspect of Masonic symbolism, from the degrees, manner of initiation, numbers, colors, and so much more. This acclaimed book is a valuable tool which can help set any sincere Mason on his own personal path of Masonic education. This softcover work is available online through most booksellers, as well as from the publisher by following the below link. This video is advertised as top 10 Masonic books, but actually I'm going to break that, as I've already given 10, but I'm going to give an additional bonus book, or actually bonus set. And this additional book or set of books, depending on your jurisdiction, I believe is as valuable as any book that you could possibly obtain. And this would be your own Grand Lodge monitor, as well as any handbook of Masonic law from your own jurisdiction. Knowing your own jurisdiction's rules, regulations, and procedures is vital to your operating within your own jurisdiction. I highly recommend this book to get, and you would get this from your own jurisdiction by contacting your Grand Lodge office or your Grand Secretary.
I hope you found these recommended books lists of value, and that it may help you in some way in building a start for a good library. I appreciate your viewing. I appreciate your watching. If you find this of value, please like it, share this video, let others know about it, and I appreciate everything and look forward to seeing you soon.